Well, hello and welcome to Morning Coffee with Maddog Merv. We have a mild for Salt Lake morning, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But let's see what we got going on the channel today, shall we? Besides good coffee, we do have that.
Welcome to Morning Coffee.
Maddog Merv today.
Got our French roast this morning again. I wonder I'm a big fat guy. I mean, holy cow.
I always had a schmear. A schmear.
So he's probably going for bagels. He's trying to steal.
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe it.
I have no clue.
And I got a bunch of chores to do. Oh, who wants to do that?
So today we've got kind of a different shout out. I can just tell you that coffee's really good. Instead of a channel, we're going to give a shout out today to a group of manufacturers that make some aftermarket parts. They're 3D printed, and they're much appreciated for those of us that are build particularly ship models. So this shout out goes to a company called Model Monkey. Kind of the first one I'd like to give a shout out to. They have some amazing products. I was just looking for one of the things that I have from them is this mooring key from Pearl Harbor, appropriate for the Arizona, and they have they do a lot of bridges for the correct bridges for battleships. They do a bunch of stuff for cruisers and destroyers, whatnot. Their product is superb. You have Black Cat, who puts out some really good products. They're anti-aircraft guns. I really appreciate those. Kraken Hobbies. Now they have some conversion sets as well. Like for the USS Washington, to turn the North Carolina into a Washington earlier in the war. But of note that I got from them recently is their 5-inch 51 caliber secondary guns for the American battleships. So in some of these battleships, they have an open mount, or they had an open mount on December 7th, and I need to replicate that. So I need a good 5-inch 51 gun. Previously, I could only get that on some of the resin kits that were out. A few, I'm trying to think of the one exactly that I got it from, and I'm coming up blank at the moment. But anyway, regardless, that was the only place to really get them. Of course, the barrels were usually a little bit warped, and you got little pinholes and stuff because it's resin. Well, enter Kraken. And wow, absolutely fabulous, the 5-inch 51s that they put out. So thank you to them. So I've got, let's see, Black Cat, Kraken, Model Monkey, Kraken, Model Monkey, and there's one other that I'm missing. Besides SS Models, who also puts out some good 20 millimeter guns. Hopefully, and I'll try to put a link in the description to the different companies. But these are the main ones that I go with, and I could really save myself a lot of time and time by getting some of these products. Now, I use some of them. I don't use as many as I should. Like these ship's bells. I'm not going to be able to get those. I'm not going to be able to get those anywhere else. Very few kits actually have them, and of course, all the ships had them. So a lot of times you'll get a kit, you'll build the kit, there's no bell on it. So anyway, I really appreciate these companies filling the need for us modelers. The only other choice is to scratch build, and I've been doing a lot of scratch building. We know I like to do that, and sometimes I just want to scratch build it and see if, how my skills are compared to what the 3D printed ones turn out to be. But I would highly recommend, if you're building any ships and want to get any of these pieces, that these companies, Model Monkey, Black Cat, and Kraken, just absolutely top notch. In fact, I think it was Kraken I got this from. This is Lieutenant Commander Waldron in 1/48 scale from VT8. He'll go along real good with one of my Devastators that I've been working on. So anyway, check them out, especially if you're doing any ship models. Absolutely great parts. Well, so last week we looked at one of the schools that's being closed by the Salt Lake City School District. They had done an audit. Well, not they had done an audit. The state had done an audit and said, wow, you guys have all these schools that are only partially being used. Anyway, I do hope you guys find these histories of the local schools of some interest. I know that in other parts of the country there are much older schools. In other parts of the world, 100-year-old school's nothing. That's still a new school. But out here, 100-year-old school is, back to what we call the pioneer days, back before we had electric light. Over 130-year-old school. So yeah, it's kind of a fun little history, especially when a lot of our schools are still on the same site as the original, 130 years ago, but yet some of our schools are completely gone, and now there's, other stuff taking their place. So, again, we'll have the other 3 that are scheduled to be closed sometime later this year. The kit hoarder stash was the Texas. I had to do that one. What did it was I watched YouTube videos like all you guys, and somebody had done a drone flyover of the Texas, how she looked after she was just recently repainted. And of course I had questions on the repaint that I asked some friends of mine, and I got the same crappy answer that I didn't like, as I always get from them. And that was, in looking at it, it's beautiful. The paint job's beautiful. It definitely looks like 5S. Sea blue, which is what it looks like. But supposedly it's supposed to be in, like navy blue. Well, I'll give you some example. This is kind of like, 5S here, and this is more like 5N here. I mean, this isn't, but it's close. You can see there's definitely a difference in, the darkness. The Texas late war was in the navy blue, and it was a dark blue. It was a dark blue. Of course, it fades over time, but this paint that's on it is beautiful. It just looks like, the lighter shade, which was measure 11 or 5S. And I just asked my, friends, hey, why did they do it this way? And, well, it's the paint that they have available, and blah, blah, blah. Oh, come on. When you could match paints today, I don't go for that BS answer. I've dealt with enough, sorry, my little rant here, but I've dealt with enough museums, air museums, where they'll get in an aircraft, and here it is in this beautiful Southeast Asia paint scheme that they've just done, and it's all shiny and beautiful. And I'm like, huh? No, that's not right. Well, it's what they had. Are you kidding me? If you're gonna, in my opinion, do something historical replica, do it right. In my view, estimation, why is it more difficult to do it right than it is to do it wrong? So, P40s that are a gloss green instead of olive drab, you get it. So, anyway, in watching that, I'm all excited about the Texas, going, ooh, wow, this looks great. I watched a history on the Texas and how it made it through both wars, and particularly what it did at Normandy. And I'm like, I got to have a model of this. So I get one. When I open this thing up and look at it, it's absolutely beautiful. As far as the kit goes, just the preliminary look, yeah, there might be some problems that I don't know about that we'll get into in the build, but just looking at it, it looks great. So I've ordered some metal gun barrels for it, and we'll get started on that one here pretty quick. So I hope you guys like that. This week, I'm not sure which car will do or airplane will do, because I've got a few. But yes, we will have something on the stash again this week. This was a very interesting week for Maddog Merv. The weather was, it was like this and then like this. So we had some storms last weekend, and as you know, brought some snow, which I had mentioned, which was okay. It would have been better around Christmas, but you know, because then you're jolly and happy and merry and gay and all that stuff anyway. And so the snow doesn't affect you as much as when it's January and you're in the letdown and you're paying your credit cards off and you're kind of, oh my gosh, anyway. And then it snows. It's like, oh. Well, most of the rest of the country has been locked in a deep freeze, and some areas have gotten snow. My kids in Texas got snow. They're kind of in North Texas. They got some snow. It's funny because my daughter in Deming, New Mexico had, 65 degrees, and yet to the east of them, a couple 100 miles, it was snowing. Anyway, we had a pretty decent storm move through the other day. Had to actually lock in the hubs on the Blazer to get the kids to school. And I parked my Blazer. I come back a half hour later, and it's making a funny noise. Like it sounds like a Sherman tank. And yes, I know what one of those sounds like. So, like, what the heck? I kind of look underneath there, and my exhaust system's hanging down. Like, oh man, somebody's cut my catalytic converter right in the driveway. So the next day I take it to a shop that I find online. Ask them, if this is something they can fix. They get it up in the air. He says, no, your catalytic converter's fine. You just had a weld break and a hanger come off. So it wasn't very expensive to fix, thank goodness. 30 minutes out the door. I was tickled. So, and the truck was working great. And I am working like a dog on these ships. I can't even finish one before I want to start another one because I get so excited. So anyway, I'm going to let you folks go. You guys have a great week, and we will see you tomorrow